It worked in mice. Worked in mice.
Welcome back to It Worked in Mice, the podcast where we look at the latest health headlines and I try to figure out if any of this stuff will ever make it to my local pharmacy. I'm Alex.
And I'm Piper, here to bring a little sunshine to Alex's storm cloud of skepticism. So are you ready to be amazed by the future of medicine today?
I'm ready to be mildly intrigued and then ultimately disappointed when I remember these are just studies. Hit me with the first one. Let's get it over with.
Okay, starting strong. This one is about Alzheimer's, and it's a really fascinating new angle. We always hear about amyloid plaques being the big villain, right?
Right, the sticky gunk that messes up the brain. It's been the target of, every failed Alzheimer's drug for the last 20 years?
Exactly. But this new research from USC suggests the problem might start even earlier and with something different: blood flow. They're saying that subtle drops in blood flow and oxygen to the brain are closely linked to those hallmark signs of Alzheimer's.
So it's a plumbing problem before it's a gunk problem. My brain circulation is getting old and slow. Great, another thing to add to the list of bodily failures.
But see, that's the hopeful part. The researchers used simple, non-invasive scans to measure this. One is a transcranial Doppler ultrasound, which is just a fancy way of saying they use sound waves to see how fast blood is moving through your brain's arteries.
And let me guess, my brain arteries are in the slow lane with the blinker on, driving 40 in a 65.
Potentially. And the other tool was near-infrared spectroscopy, which uses light to see how well oxygen is getting into the brain tissue. The cool part is they can do this while a person is just resting. No scary procedures.
Okay, non-invasive is good. I'm a fan of not having my skull opened. So what did they find with their brain traffic cameras?
They found that older adults whose brain blood flow looked more like a healthy person's also had fewer amyloid plaques and a larger hippocampus. Remember the hippocampus?
Vaguely. Isn't that the seahorse-shaped part of the brain that handles memory? The part you really don't want to shrink?
That's the one. So healthier blood vessels were linked to a healthier memory center and less of that Alzheimer's gunk. This could mean that vascular health is a super early indicator, maybe even a driver of the disease. We could potentially spot risk years, maybe decades before symptoms show up.
Okay, I'll admit that is interesting. Spotting it early is the whole game. But when, Piper? When can a regular person like me get a brain blood flow checkup? Is this a 2030 thing or a 2070 thing?
It's a step in that direction. It moves the focus. Instead of just looking for the plaques after they've formed, we can look at the health of the system that supports the brain. It's like checking the irrigation system in a garden, not just looking for withered plants.
An irrigation system for my slowly withering brain garden. That's a lovely image. Thanks. What's next? Please tell me it's a cure for cynicism.
Dramatically, even better. It's about bacteria that eat cancer.
It's about what now? Did you say bacteria that eat cancer? Okay, you have my full attention. This sounds like the plot of a terrible sci-fi movie.
A brilliant sci-fi movie. Researchers are engineering a type of bacteria called Clostridium sporogenes. This little guy is commonly found in soil, and it has a very particular quirk. It can only survive in places with absolutely no oxygen.
A picky little microbe. An anaerobe if my high school biology is firing on any cylinders.
You got it. And where is one of the most oxygen-deprived places in the human body? The core of a solid tumor. It's made of dead cells and has a terrible blood supply, making it the perfect 5-star restaurant for this bacteria.
So the plan is to just inject soil bacteria into someone and hope it goes to the right place and starts munching? That sounds risky.
It's much more elegant than that. The spores of the bacteria are injected and they travel through the body. They can't grow in our healthy, oxygen-rich tissues, but when they find a tumor, they hit the jackpot. They germinate, multiply, and start consuming the dead tumor tissue from the inside out. They're basically colonizing the tumor.
A microscopic Trojan horse. I like it. But what's the catch? There's always a catch.
There was a challenge. As the bacteria colony grows and moves towards the outer edges of the tumor, it starts to encounter a little bit of oxygen, and once it hits that oxygen, it dies off before it can finish the job.
Ah, so it clears out the center of the tumor but leaves the edges. The job's only half done. Classic contractor.
Right, so the scientists did something clever. They inserted a gene from a related bacterium that's more tolerant to oxygen. This lets the engineered bacteria survive longer and push further to the edges.
But wait, if it's more oxygen tolerant, what stops it from setting up shop in, my lungs or my bloodstream? That seems like a pretty major safety concern.
I was waiting for you to ask that. They solved it with something called quorum sensing. It's a natural communication process bacteria use. The oxygen tolerance gene they added only switches on when there's a high enough concentration of the bacteria in one place.
So they have to hold a meeting first. The bacteria form a committee, take a vote, and only if they have a quorum do they decide to become more powerful.
That is the perfect analogy. It means a few stray bacteria floating around in the bloodstream can't do anything. But once a huge colony builds up inside the tumor, they signal to each other, the gene activates, and they can withstand the oxygen at the tumor's edge to finish the job. It's basically a pre-programmed biological smart bomb.
A smart bomb that holds committee meetings. I'm still not sure if I'm horrified or amazed. Okay, all this talk about bacteria eating, I'm feeling a bit peckish myself. My gut biome is staging a protest. Let me grab a handful of almonds, for my cellular health. Give me 10 seconds.
It worked in mice. Worked in mice. That sounds real nice.
Sounds real nice.
Will it work for you? Let's find out what's true. It worked in mice.
And he's back! Did you feed your little microbes? Are they happy now, or are they demanding a tiny union?
They're placated for now. All right, speaking of things that only work in the lab, this next one has our show's name written all over it. Scientists at UCLA have reversed muscle aging in mice. See, it always comes back to the mice.
But Alex, that's where it all begins. This is so cool. It turns out that as we age, our muscle stem cells start to slow down. They don't repair damage as quickly, which is why it takes longer to recover from a workout or an injury when you're older.
Tell me about it. I pulled a muscle getting out of a chair the other day. I'm still recovering. So what did they find in these elderly, creaky mice?
They found that the stem cells in older muscles have really high levels of a protein called NDRG1. This protein basically acts like a brake. It tells the stem cells, hey, slow down, don't be in such a rush to activate and repair things.
A brake. So we just need to cut the brake lines and our muscles will heal like we're 20 again? Sounds too simple. What's the catch? I know is coming.
You're getting good at this. The catch is that the NDRG1 protein, the brake, also seems to help the stem cells survive longer in the more stressful environment of an older person's muscle tissue.
Ah, a trade-off. It's always a trade-off. So the cells that are best at their job, repairing things, might not be the ones that survive to old age. The survivors are the ones that are good at, surviving. They're lazy but resilient.
Exactly. It's a total shift in thinking about aging. It's not just a decline, it's a survival strategy. To prove it, they took very old mice, the equivalent of a 75-year-old human, and they blocked that NDRG1 protein.
And what happened? Did the mice start entering bodybuilding competitions?
Close. Their muscle stem cells started acting young again. They activated more quickly after an injury and repaired the muscle tissue much faster. But, and here's the other side of that trade-off, over time, the stem cells became less resilient. So you get faster repairs, but maybe at the cost of long-term stability.
So the fountain of youth is real, but it's slightly leaky and might run dry faster. It's fascinating, but still feels a long way off from helping me with my chair-related injuries.
Well, how about something a little more immediate, something that doesn't involve mice or genetic engineering? Let's talk about your gut.
Oh, good. I was hoping we would. Is it my gut bacteria again? Are they calling to complain about the almonds?
They might be. A new study found that how hard you train could be rewiring your gut microbiome. Researchers looked at athletes and found that intense workouts change the balance of bacteria and other important compounds in their digestive systems.
So the little critters in my intestines are aware of my workout schedule, or lack thereof. Should I be embarrassed?
You should be motivated. When the athletes in the study were training hard, their gut microbiomes looked one way, but when their training load dropped, their gut environment shifted. It seems exercise directly influences the kind of bacteria that thrive in there.
How? Is it just that fit people eat healthier?
That's part of it for sure, but the researchers have a theory that goes beyond diet. During intense exercise, your muscles produce lactate. That lactate gets into your bloodstream and travels to the gut, where certain types of bacteria can actually use it as food.
Ah, so a tough workout is like a 5-course meal for my best bacterial buddies. You're feeding your gut by going to the gym.
That's the idea. You're encouraging the growth of certain bacteria that might be really beneficial for you. It's another layer to the benefits of exercise. It's not just about your muscles and your heart, it's about tending to your internal microbial garden.
My withering brain garden and now my microbial garden. I have a lot of tiny invisible gardening to do. This is exhausting.
Well, I think it's pretty amazing. We've talked about seeing the signs of Alzheimer's in blood flow, training bacteria to fight cancer, understanding the trade-offs in muscle aging, and now feeding your gut with a good run. Science is giving us so many new ways to think about our health.
It is. I'll give you that. Now, I'm just going to sit here and wait for my cancer-eating, muscle-rebuilding, brain-scanning probiotics to show up on Amazon Prime. I'll let you know when they arrive. They'll probably be delivered by a drone shaped like a mouse.
You are absolutely impossible. And on that note, that's all the time we have for this week's episode of It Worked in Mice. We'll be back next week with more headlines from the labs.
Until then, don't try injecting yourself with soil or mice. See you next time.
Sounds real nice. Will it